What's going on, guys? Joe from SRHQ. Today I thought I would show you some of my more recent leather working projects, some slips, some sheaths that I've been working on, and of course the knives. They go inside of these slips and sheaths. If you've followed my channel, you might know that a few years ago, probably right around the time Corona started, I started making leather. I ordered a beginner's leather making kit. I started watching YouTube videos. I started talking to other people that were making leather, and I basically just learned how to do it. And I started making some slips, some sheaths. My early work was never anything to write home about, but I always really enjoyed doing it. I like to feel that my work has, progressed a little bit, and I've gotten a little bit more precise and exact with my cuts, and my finishing is a little bit better. And yeah, I wanted to pop on. It's been a while, and I wanted to show you guys some of the more recent stuff that I've been working on. So where should I start? Well, first, let's talk about, I guess I'm going to start with this one, but let's start by talking about, how a knife gets a sheath or a slip in my collection. Now, in order for a knife in my collection to get a slip, it has to be a user. Now, in order for a knife to be a user in my collection, it has to have a story. I have to have bought the thing personally somewhere, gotten it from a friend of mine, gotten it from someone I know. It has to have some kind of story, some kind of connection to it, some kind of special, wow factor that, makes it interesting, makes it worth, putting in my pocket. All of these knives are special to me. All of these knives have a story, and that's why all of these knives have either a slip or a sheath. So let's just start with this one. This is a cross-draw sheath. Probably the oldest one on the table. I made this one, I want to say a couple years ago. I was proud of it back then, and I'm still pretty proud of it now. Really cool sheath. The concept behind this, you see this is kind of like a floating strap. Your belt goes through there, and then this kind of just hangs on the front side of your belt. And that's how I wear it. I wear it right between the belt buckle and the first belt loop on the right side, kind of, butted up against the belt loop. And whenever I need my knife, I just reach down and grab it. And this holds one of my Copperlocks from WRK Sons. This is in the ginger ale winterbottom bone. Just great looking. Case really does a great job on, dyeing the bone, jigging the bone, the colors. Mentioned this is one of two Copperlocks that I have. The other one is the burnt indigo. Also a really amazing looking color. I got both of these from Michael Richter. Maybe you guys have heard of him. Really good friend of mine. We have been friends for a while, and I believe we traded for these knives even before he had a YouTube channel. This is back when I was doing my YouTube channel full swing. Yeah, I think he traded me a couple Copperlocks for a GEC. I don't really remember the exact trade. I would have to go back and look through, Instagram messages and stuff like that. But I believe he got a 78 American Jack GP Knives exclusive. And I believe I got the two Copperlocks and a little bit of leather. Just great looking. I really love the clip point blade on the Copperlocks. One of the nicest looking clip point blades on a traditional, if you ask me. I really like the swedging, the long pull. Just looks great. This has my edge on it. 17-degree work sharp edge. Wicked sharp. Yeah. So this is my WRK Sons Copperlock in ginger ale winterbottom bone. This is the cross-draw sheath that I carry it in. Got it from a good friend, Michael Richter. If you guys don't follow him on YouTube and Instagram, make sure you do. He's a great guy. I think you'd really like his content. So where should we move on to from there? Let's go to this one right here. This is also a fairly older sheath. I made this at least a year ago. The first and only time I attempted, I believe this is called a cross stitch. This is a saddle stitch. And this is, I believe, called a cross stitch. I think it turned out really cool. This sheath kind of got, relegated to the, the reject bin, just because I stamped it so off center. You see that? And it just bothered me. I always thought it was a really cool looking sheath. This is yellow dye with purple stitching. I really love the color scheme. It's just that stamping really bothered me. But then recently for Father's Day in Germany, which was last week, my wife and my daughter got me this knife. This is the Otter Buckelsmesser. What? Yeah, a Buckelsmesser. If you guys don't know what a Buckelsmesser is, it's basically a sharpened butter knife. This is a companion to your everyday eating needs. This is going to cut your fruits, going to cut your vegetables. It's going to spread your butter, spread your peanut butter, your jams, your jellies. You don't realize how necessary a knife like this is until you try to do some of those tasks, spreading in particular, with, let's say, a clip point blade. And after you realize it just is a damn near impossible task, you will appreciate a knife that is, made for the job. This is a dream to cut cut the bread open, spread whatever toppings you're gonna put on it. It's a people-friendly knife. See, it doesn't have this tip. Now, it's called the Buckelsmesser. It comes from the word Buch, I assume, which is dialect for the German word Bauch, which means belly, which refers to the shape of the tip. This knife is all belly. This is on the Mercator frame. I think Otter did just an outstanding job on this. I love the color. It's kind of like a milky blue with a silver lining on the Otter here. One criticism I can give the Mercator knives is you put this knife in your pocket and this little liner right here is gone within a day or two. It doesn't hold up. The actual coating, the actual painting on the metal, this blue, will hold up quite nicely. But this little outline, this little silver outlining, will be gone in just a couple days. So yeah, I got this for Father's Day. They had a little help. My wife asked me what I wanted. I sent her a link because as soon as Otter posted pictures of the new Buckelsmesser on Instagram, I knew I had to have one. And yeah, fantastic knife. And when I got it, I just had this sheath in my head, and I said, this is it. This is the sheath. So really cool color. I love the stitching. I left the inside and the edges undyed on this one. Thought it gave it a little bit more rustic look. So very cool. My Otter Messer Buckelsmesser and the sheath that it lives in. There's another one. This is a more recent one. I made this one, I guess I'd say a couple months ago. I made a few of them. I was trying out some different techniques on the finishing, different techniques on cutting the leather. I feel like I really stepped it up on this one compared to previous models. I feel like I got the edges really well. My stitch line is nice and straight. I was really happy with this one. I poked a hole in it, I put a grommet, and I tied a leather lanyard with a diamond knot, which is actually really useful. You just reach down in your pocket and grab for this lanyard, and you can pull the whole sheath right out. So this one, what color is this? I believe this is English bridle with red stitching. And this sheath holds my rail splitter, my Queen Cutlery USA rail splitter. Now, I got this knife in a trade with Warthog. If you guys don't know about Warthog's channel, which I'm sure you do, but if you don't, make sure you guys go and check him out. He's got a fantastic channel. We did a trade a few years ago. I had a Boker Sportmesser in Zebu horn covers that I was looking to trade, and we ended up trading for this. This is a Queen Cutlery Railsplitter, three-bladed rail splitter. The rail splitter is on a surveyor frame. They have lots of different varieties of this one. They have single blade, two blade, the three blade variety, which you see here, as well as four blade variety that I've even seen. So just a very cool knife, very classic knife, one of my favorite patterns. And it was just a really cool trade. And the cool thing about the trade is that people remember that trade. When the trade happened, you know, it was just kind of like, yeah, let's trade, you know, I'll get a video out of it, you get a video out of it. Cool. But yeah, I think, Rick, I think the knife community really enjoyed watching that trade, because years later when I showed it on one of RJ's lives, everyone on that panel that night knew the knife that I was going to pull out before I even showed it, just because I was talking about it. They were all saying, oh, I remember that. Oh, I remember that trade. So yeah, I think people were really into that, and I'm really happy that I still have the knife, that you still have the Sport Messer, and we're both really happy with it. So fantastic knife. Love it. And the sheath. Slip. So where should we go now? We got two more to talk about. We'll talk about this one. This one is a fairly recent one. I made this one within the last couple months. I made this especially for the knife that is inside. This knife came from Byron Kennedy from the Splitting Slices channel. I don't know if you guys know about him. He's a relatively new channel, but he's got some really cool content, and I would highly recommend going to check him out. Well, he recently did a European tour. He came and went all over the place, and on that tour, he made a stop in Munich, and on that stop in Munich, we met up. We actually spent a whole evening together. We had a talk at his hotel. We went knife shopping. We went to 3 different knife shops, and we actually ended the night off with a beer at the Hofbräu House. So it was a really, really cool night, and he ended up giving me a knife. Another cool thing about the whole experience is that we filmed a little bit of it, and he filmed a little bit of it. And as soon as he's done editing it, you guys will actually get to have a look at that and see what we were doing. So yeah, let's show you the knife. I'm not going to tell you the whole story. You're going to have to wait and see his video. Check this out. This is the traditionalpocketknives.com Lake Champlain Barlow. Full jig titanium. Let's just have a look at that. I believe QSP is the maker, and they did a rock solid job on this. Precision is a word that I would use to describe this knife. I mean, it's a very precise grinds, precise milling. Everything is very perfect on it, and I think that's really cool. I don't have anything like this in my collection. Really cool clip point blade, kind of like a fat snub nose clip point. We do have some swedging. Nail nick on both sides, or I should say a long pull. Both sides does help in pinching the blade open. This thing's got just a monster pull, monster snap. Sounds freaking killer. This is just a beast of a knife, and I'm really happy to have it in my collection. So I'm gonna leave it at that. You know, you guys are gonna have to see Byron's video when it comes out to learn the whole story on this, but I got this on Byron's recent trip to Europe when he stopped in Munich, and we hung out one night. And of course, this is the sheath, the slip that I made for it. It's a turquoise color that I dyed pretty dark, and then it's got some mink oil rubbed in, then I buffed it to a shine. Green stitching. Just looks really cool. Really cool, modern slip joint, super strong modern slip joint. I've been carrying this a lot. You guys can see the sheath. See how shiny it's getting. This one's been in my pocket quite a bit. I really, really enjoy carrying this knife. So that brings us to the last one. Navy blue sheath, off-white stitching. I made this one. I don't know if you guys saw the video. Patty's potatoes peelers made a video recently. I sent him some knives. I actually sent him a sheath, a slip as well. And on that day that I made the slip for him, I made 2 slips, and this is the other one. His is dyed a different color. His was dyed yellow. This one was dyed blue, but 2 slips were made that day, and this is the second one. Same pattern, same piece of leather. They're pretty much identical slips, just different colors. Well, just recently, last week, I got a package back from him, and he sent me some really just amazing traditional English pocket knives. I had asked him, he told me he wanted to send me something, he wanted to know what I was looking for. And I told him, I said, could you just send me some, like, what you would just consider just a really good English work knife? Because I told him I didn't have a single English pocket knife in my collection at that time, which was a little bit of a lie. It wasn't a lie at the time, because at the time I didn't realize I had one. I do have an Arthur Wright & Son Ettrick. I forgot I had it because it is stored with my leatherworking supplies, and it is not with my main knife collection. So other than that Ettrick, I didn't have any English knives in my collection. So he wanted to send me a knife. I said, just send me a good worker. You know, send me a good user, something I can put in my pocket and use. And this is one of them that he sent me. He sent me 2 of them. He sent me an Arthur Wright Barlow with some fantastic rosewood covers, and he sent me this one, which this one's really special. This is also an Arthur Wright & Son. This is known as simply as the Spear Point. Really just a bomb-proof jackknife with a killer pull. I would say 9 to 9.5 on the pull. Very strong. Great looking spear point blade. Very useful spear point blade. I believe Patty sharpened this himself. Check that out. Patty is very skilled at hand sharpening. He has lots of videos on that kind of stuff. So if you're interested in learning about sharpening and getting edges on your own knives like this, go check out his channel. I don't think you will be disappointed. So this knife, the Spear Point by Arthur Wright & Son, awesome knife. But what makes this really stick out is, as a star, are these covers. This is teak wood, and this is teak wood from the Royal Yacht Britannia. The Royal Yacht Britannia that was in service from 1954 to 1997. Now, how the story goes is the flooring of the Royal Yacht Britannia is all planks of teak wood. 1997, they docked it, they made it a floating museum, and in one of the storage rooms on the ship, they found the original planks from the original order in 1952, some backup planks to the teak flooring. You know, I guess if anything happened to the flooring while the ship was out, they could repair it. I guess they didn't need these planks anymore, so they sold them. And Arthur Wright bought some and made some beautiful pocket knives out of them, and this is one of them. So check that out. Amazing history. This is the only teak wood knife that I have, that I've ever had, really. Just great looking. I think the file side is actually better looking than the mark side. They're both great looking. I mean, I just really enjoy this knot here and this grain. Just a really cool traditional English pocket knife. Exactly what I was looking for. I mean, it didn't even need the fancy covers. Just, I've been carrying this Patty. I hope this isn't some kind of super collector thing. I saw there were some scratches on the blade already, and I could tell you sharpened it, so I didn't think it was that big of a deal, but I can tell you it is quickly becoming one of my favorite knives. The Arthur Wright & Son Spear Point. No frills, no nonsense jackknife. So yeah, and this is the slip, so it all kind of ties together. I sent Patty a slip. He put a really special knife in his slip, and I got a second slip from the same run, and I'm putting a really special knife from Patty in that one. So there you go, guys. 20 minutes in. I didn't think I could do it, but I did it. So that's going to be my video on knives and leather. I hope you enjoyed seeing some of my recent work and hearing the stories about the knives that go inside. I appreciate you watching, and hopefully there'll be some more videos in the future. Thank you guys, and have a great one. Bye-bye.